Did you know there is a single exercise capable of completely transforming the way you walk, restoring balance, and even drastically reducing the risk of falls? That's right. Most people over 50 ignore this kind of practice, even though walking safely is one of the biggest factors in maintaining independence in adulthood. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to perform this exercise, why it works so well, and how you can adapt it to your level even if you're starting from scratch. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll also share a powerful variation that speeds up results and helps improve not only your walking, but also other daily activities like climbing stairs and getting up from a chair more easily. When we talk about walking after the age of 50, three common problems often show up. The first is distance. Many people notice they can't walk as far as they used to. The second is speed. The pace becomes slower, which directly affects quality of life and even safety, since crossing a street, for example, becomes a challenge. The third is pain. Walking stops being enjoyable and becomes uncomfortable, causing many to avoid the activity. According to research from the U.S. National Institute on Aging, reduced leg muscle strength is one of the main risk factors for falls and fractures in older adults. Studies also show that after age 50, muscle mass can decrease by about 1% per year without proper stimulation. That might not sound like much, but over 10 years, it represents a significant loss of strength, balance, and even autonomy. The good news is that this process isn't inevitable. With simple, consistent, and well-targeted exercises, it's possible not only to slow down, but also to reverse part of this loss. And here's the analogy I like to use to simplify things. Imagine the body as a bicycle. The frame of the bicycle represents your bones and joints. If that frame is weak, the bike can't stay upright. The wheels represent the muscles, which provide power and movement. Without strong wheels, there's no efficient motion. And the handlebars symbolize the nervous system and balance, which are responsible for control. If the handlebars fail, the bike loses direction and falls. The human body works exactly the same way. Bones, muscles, and balance all need to be aligned. The problem is that most exercises focus only on muscles or joints and forget about balance, which is just as essential as the other two. Now, I want to share the story of Carlos, a patient who really stood out to me. He was 65 when he came to my office, using a cane and with a sad expression on his face. He said he could barely walk for 10 minutes without knee pain. His fear of falling made him avoid even short distances. What bothered him most wasn't the pain itself, but the feeling of dependence. He had always been active, and now he needed help just to go to the store. I taught him this simple exercise, but asked him to follow a rule called the 20% rule. This rule is clear. There's no point in trying to double your efforts overnight, because that increases the risk of injury. The key is to progress slowly and consistently, increasing either the time or the repetitions by about 20% each week. In the first 2 days, Carlos thought the exercise was too simple. He even told me it seemed like child's play. But I insisted that he stay consistent. 2 weeks later, he told me he was walking with less pain and more confidence. In 2 months, he had doubled his walking time, set his cane aside, and was back to strolling through the park with friends. What made the difference wasn't intensity, but consistency. This story highlights something essential. To regain strength, balance, and confidence, you don't need complicated exercises or fancy equipment. What you need is consistency, proper technique, and gradual progression. Now it's your turn. Stand up with your feet shoulder-width apart, lightly resting your hands on a chair or table. First, shift your weight to the balls of your feet and lift your heels, holding the position for 5 seconds. Then, slowly return and reverse the movement. Place your weight on your heels, lifting your toes and holding for 5 seconds as well. Repeat this sequence 10 times. It may seem simple, but this movement activates muscles that are often neglected in daily life. When you lift your toes, you're activating the anterior tibialis, a muscle located at the front of the leg that helps prevent tripping. Without it being strong, every step becomes a potential risk. When you lift your heels, you activate the calves, which act like a propulsion engine, giving you a push with every step and improving endurance. Additionally, this movement strengthens the ankle and foot joints, which act as natural shock absorbers. Together, these muscles and joints make your walking firmer, more stable, and more confident. Now, if you want a greater challenge, I recommend adding hip bridges on the floor. This exercise strengthens the glutes and lower back, muscles that are essential for supporting your walk. Simply lie on your back, bend your knees, and keep your feet flat on the ground. From that position, lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees, squeezing your glutes tightly, and then slowly lower down. Repeat 8 to 12 times. This movement is powerful because it stabilizes the pelvis and protects the spine, giving you more firmness while walking. Another alternative is the standing lateral leg raise. Rest one hand on a chair, keep one leg firmly on the ground, and slowly lift the other to the side until you feel the hip activate. This movement strengthens the gluteus medius, the muscle responsible for stabilizing the pelvis during walking. Without it being strong, each step can lead to imbalance. It's exactly the weakness of this muscle that explains why many people sway their bodies side to side when walking. Now that you've understood the foundation of the main exercise and learned variations that make the practice either easier or more challenging, it's time to go even deeper. I want you to understand not just how to do it, but why you should do it. Because when we understand the reasons behind a movement, we gain more motivation to practice it consistently. Let's start by talking about the calf muscles, often called the body's second heart. That's because they act as an auxiliary pump for the circulatory system. Every time you contract the calf, blood is pushed back toward the heart, helping fight fluid buildup and reducing swelling in the legs. People with poor circulation, varicose veins, or a feeling of heaviness in the legs benefit greatly from exercises that strengthen this area. It's no exaggeration to say that by taking care of your calves, you improve not just your walk, but also your overall cardiovascular health. The anterior tibialis muscle, located at the front of the leg, plays an equally important role. It ensures that you can lift your feet effectively with each step, preventing trips on uneven sidewalks or rugs at home. Unfortunately, this muscle is rarely trained in most gyms or exercise programs. Many only realize its importance when they start to feel pain or notice they're tripping more often. By including this toe lift movement in your routine, you'll be strengthening this exact area, essentially creating a fall insurance policy. Now I want to draw your attention to another crucial point: balance. Many people believe that loss of balance is inevitable with age, but that's not true. The nervous system and the balance receptors spread throughout the body can, and should, be trained. Every time you do a movement that requires you to stay stable, even if it's just letting go of the chair with one hand or trying the exercise on one foot, you're teaching your body to respond better to imbalances. It's like updating the software of your nervous system. Recent studies from Harvard University have shown that people who practice balance exercises at least 3 times a week reduce their risk of falls by up to 40%. That's because these workouts improve coordination between muscles, joints, and the nervous system. So every time you challenge yourself to stand without support or hold the tiptoe position for a bit longer, you're strengthening not just your muscles, but also your body control. But a word of caution: safety first. If you feel unsteady, don't attempt advanced variations right away. Use a sturdy chair, keep your space free of obstacles, and if possible, have someone nearby during your first attempts. Progress will come naturally with consistent practice. Another important point is breathing. Many people perform the movements automatically and forget to breathe properly. Inhale through your nose as you prepare for the movement and exhale through your mouth as you execute it. This mindful breathing helps keep your body relaxed, improves muscle oxygenation, and enhances your results. So far, you've already understood the importance of this exercise, explored easier and more challenging variations, and realized that the secret isn't intensity, it's consistency. Now let's dive into something often overlooked: how the small details of movement and routine can boost your results and turn this simple exercise into a full rehabilitation and strengthening tool. First, let's talk about posture. When doing tiptoe or heel movements, it's common for people to focus only on the legs and forget about the torso. However, keeping an upright posture during the exercise is essential. Imagine a string pulling you from the top of your head toward the ceiling. This mental image helps align your spine, engage your core, and distribute your weight evenly. By doing so, you not only strengthen your legs, but also improve your upper body posture. Now, let's go beyond the physical aspect. Recent studies from Stanford University have shown that people who walk regularly and practice leg-strengthening exercises experience improvements not only in the body, but also in the mind. These movements stimulate the production of endorphins, the hormone linked to well-being, and improve brain circulation, helping with memory and mental clarity. In other words, when you practice this exercise, you're not just strengthening your legs, you're also caring for your brain. And how can you stay motivated to keep practicing week after week? A simple trick is to create a progress journal. Write down how many repetitions you did, how long you could walk without pain, or even how you felt after the session. This record will show your progress in a tangible way. Often we don't notice small improvements in daily life, but by comparing notes from previous weeks, you'll see significant gains. That creates pride and reinforces discipline. Now I want to expand the variations for those who have already mastered the basics. One of them is the tiptoe exercise on unstable surfaces. It can be done on a firm pillow or even a folded mat. The instability forces your stabilizing muscles to work harder, increasing the challenge for your balance. Of course, always do it with a chair or handrail nearby for support. Another advanced variation is combining the movement with arm exercises. For example, lifting your heels while raising small weights or water bottles overhead. This creates full-body activation, working coordination, and endurance in an integrated way. But be careful. Don't confuse variation with rushing. You should only move on to these options when the basics are solid. Remember the 20% rule. It's better to do less with good quality than try to do too much and risk injury. Now that you've mastered the concept of the exercise, understand its importance, and even know a few variations, it's time to explore something that often doesn't get the attention it deserves: the connection between this type of training and the prevention of chronic diseases that affect millions of people over the age of 50. When we talk about health, most people only think about managing blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood sugar. But few realize that leg strength and the ability to walk well are directly linked to preventing many of these conditions. Let's start with type 2 diabetes. Research shows that leg muscles are major consumers of glucose. In other words, the more active and strong they are, the better your body can regulate blood sugar. It's as if each repetition of the exercise is a natural way to help control your glucose levels. In the case of high blood pressure, the logic is similar. Simple exercises like this one help improve blood circulation and the elasticity of blood vessels, reducing the pressure on the cardiovascular system. It's no surprise that doctors all over the world recommend strength and balance training for older adults. It impacts not only mobility but also longevity. Another key point is preventing osteoporosis. Our bones respond to mechanical stimulus. That means when you put light pressure on your joints and bones through impact or resistance movements, you're stimulating the formation of new bone cells. When you perform tiptoe or heel raises, or even the more advanced variations, you're sending signals to your bones to stay strong. It's one of the most natural ways to prevent common fractures in older adults, such as hip fractures. And we can't forget the joints. You might be thinking, but I already have arthritis. Can I really do this exercise? The answer is yes, as long as it's done with control and within your limits. Gentle and repetitive movement lubricates the joints, stimulates the production of synovial fluid, which acts like a natural oil, and reduces stiffness. Many patients report feeling less pain specifically because they started moving more, not because they avoided movement. And if you want an extra challenge, here it is. Try doing the tiptoe and heel raise exercise while holding a light bag of rice or beans in each hand. This increases muscle activation, not just in your legs but also in your torso and arms. Over time, you can gradually increase the weight, always respecting your body's limits. This version adds strength and coordination, making the exercise even more complete. To wrap up this section, I want to emphasize that every repetition is a step toward a more active and independent life. Don't underestimate the power of small habits. What seems simple today is what will help you keep walking strong, climbing stairs without fear, and living freely in the future. And now, I want to expand your vision even further about the impact of this exercise and how small changes can bring huge benefits to your health and life. So far, you've learned that the tiptoe and heel movement, along with the variations I suggested, strengthens forgotten muscles, protects joints, and reactivates your balance system. But what you might not have realized yet is that this simple habit can be a true ally of longevity. Studies conducted by Kyoto University in Japan followed adults over 60 for 5 years and showed that those who practiced regular leg strengthening exercises had up to a 30% lower risk of developing severe mobility limitations. Another impressive finding: people who maintain good levels of muscle strength after age 50 tend to live longer and more independently, even compared to those who only focus on managing things like blood pressure or body weight. This reinforces what we've already said. Taking care of your legs is taking care of your future. Now imagine what it really means to live with autonomy. Think about the freedom of leaving the house without depending on anyone. Traveling, playing with your grandchildren, or simply going shopping without the fear of tripping or being in pain. That independence is priceless. It gives dignity and keeps the mind active. It's as if each repetition of this exercise is an investment in extra years of quality life. But to reap those rewards, you need to understand that consistency is everything. There's no point in doing it for 1 week and then quitting. The body responds to what we do repeatedly. If you train your legs every day or several times a week, you're sending a clear message to your body: I need these muscles strong. And the body responds by reinforcing muscle fibers, improving coordination, and increasing endurance. Another important point is learning to listen to your body. If you feel intense joint pain, reduce the intensity. If you're tired one day, do fewer repetitions. But never stop completely. Adjusting your effort is part of the process. After all, it's better to do a little consistently than to quit halfway through. Now I want to talk about inspiration. I met Mrs. Helena, 78 years old, who came to me afraid of falling inside her own home. She had suffered a minor fall and since then avoided going out alone. We started with the seated version of the exercise, and each week she made a little progress. After 3 months, she was able to stand on her tiptoes without support for 10 seconds. The sparkle in her eyes when she realized her achievement was truly moving. Today, she walks around her neighborhood without fear and even returned to her senior dance group. This proves it's never too late to start again. And if you still have doubts, I invite you to try it for yourself. Give yourself 30 days of consistent practice. Write down your starting point, take your time, follow the 20% rule, and observe the changes. I'm sure you'll be surprised. You may notice that climbing a step feels easier, that walking to the market doesn't tire you out as much, or that the pain has decreased. These are the signs that show you're on the right path. Now, to wrap things up, I want to leave you with a call to action. Starting today, stop seeing exercise as an obligation. See it as an opportunity to take care of your body, your mind, and your future. You deserve to walk with confidence, to live with energy, and to age with health. This simple habit is the first step in that direction. So here's the challenge. Do this exercise every day for the next 15 days. Then, gradually increase the intensity. Combine it with the variations I've taught, like the hip raise and lateral leg lift. Make this trio a part of your routine. And when you start seeing the results, share it with someone you love, because motivation multiplies. And if you're ready for the next step, there's a more complete set of exercises that can help you go up and down stairs with ease, without pain, and with much more energy. Click the video that's appearing here on the side, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Remember, health isn't about luck, it's about choices. And today, you have the chance to choose to move better, live better, and age better. Start now.